and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, I hope you stick around. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below so you can be told when I make a new video. Today I'm filming a video that I had planned to post when I hit 200 subscribers, and then I never filmed it, and then we evacuated for a hurricane, and then I rearranged my bookshelves, and then I hit 300 subscribers. So here I am. I'm going to pretend this was completely intentional and that this was my 300 subscriber Q&A. So that's what I'm doing today. So I had written down all of the people who had asked me questions next to questions, and then I lost it, so I'm sorry, but I only have like the people I remember specifically asking me certain questions, so those are the only ones I'm going to mention. But if you asked me questions, thank you so much. I really appreciated all the people that asked me questions. But without further ado, let's get started. So the first question is from Andrew. I'm starting with some controversial questions. I'm sorry if you hate me after this, Andrew, but you asked the questions, so you have to deal with the answers. The first question is Cassie, Clare, or Riordan? If you can see behind me, those are like my top two shelves and also two of my favorite authors, so this was initially a hard choice, but the more I thought about it, the clearer the answer became. Cassie gave me angst, Rick gave me education. I'm sorry, but Percy had my heart first. All in all, they're both really amazing writers, and I do love both of their writing and their books, and both of their characters like have my heart, but all in all, I think I'd have to go with Rick. Question number 2 is one hyped up book you'll never read, also from Andrew. And again, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm ever going to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. At this point, there are just so many other books on my TBR that are written by like either POC authors or just more diverse or are not just typical like 2000s fantasy series about fae. So at this point, I've heard so much about ACOTAR that if I read it, it would be completely ironically just because I feel left out and I want to know what everybody's talking about, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to know, if you know what I mean. Question number 3 is my favorite color, shades of blue and green, and more recently, more like subdued kind of earth tones like shades of brown, and also like mustard yellow orange-ish is also a new favorite color of mine. Question number 4 is what is your favorite genre? For this, I don't know that I have like a single favorite genre because honestly I go through a lot of phases of favorite genres. So like right now I really love myth retellings, like Greek myth retellings specifically, like Circe, Song of Achilles, Percy Jackson, that kind of stuff. But I know last year I went through a big like contemporary historical fiction phase. I know like for several years it was exclusively fantasy fiction, that's all I read. And recently I found myself kind of as we approach October craving more like mysteries, thrillers, that kind of spooky atmospheric stuff. So yeah, I want some rainy day reads. But it really depends on like the time of year, the day that you get me on. I like all kinds of books, honestly. What is a book you loved that everyone else seems to hate? Now I know this book was on my most disappointing reads list, but I think I still enjoyed it more than a lot of people did. So probably Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like I agree that it could have been so much better. Nobody wanted a Coriolanus Snow book, but we got one, and I mean, I guess I made the most of it. I honestly think I enjoyed the references to the original Hunger Games more than I enjoyed this book, but I enjoyed it for what it was, I guess, and that's saying more than some people because a lot of people really hated this book. What is a book you hated that everyone else seems to love? I think The Night Circus. When I was reading it, like I guess I kind of enjoyed it, and then I finished it and I put it down and I was like, what did I just read? Like, did I read the same book that everybody has been raving about for the past like 2 years? I don't know what happened, but I just didn't enjoy the book. Like, I was reading it and I had no idea what was going on. Like, I was promised a love story and a competition, and it was neither of those things. Like, if you've read the book, like, tell me if you disagree with me, because honestly, I could talk about this all day. Like, it was a competition and a love story. Like, that's what I was marketed as, and I just didn't get that out of it. Like, it was so slow and disconnected to me, and it just didn't feel like, first of all, the love story, like, what love story? Competition? What competition? They were like having this competition over the course of like 40 years or so, and then whenever they finally like get together or whatever it is that happened, like what was that ending? I don't know. Question number 7 is what is the book that got you into reading? Honestly, I don't remember, because I remember when I lived in Canada back when I was like 3 or 4 years old, we had a library downstairs in my apartment. It wasn't a very well-stocked library, but I remember like as a 4-year-old going down to that library and checking out books. So I guess I was reading at that point. Also, my mom has just always like emphasized reading. There's like a trophy up there. I don't think you can see it, and I got it like in 2002 because my mom read to me at some like community event, and like she was reading to me and we got a trophy for reading. Participation prizes. But I think the first actual books that I can like name were after I moved to the United States, like first grade. I was reading Harry Potter in first grade. Like, I don't know if I understood half of what was in those books, but that's what I was reading. I was reading Harry Potter at the same time that I was reading Magic Tree House, so like my reading level was a little bit varied. I was reading like thick books and little books at the same time, but all sizes of books are great, so we love them all. Question number 8 is what are you studying studying in school. I have this rehearsed because this is my introduction to everybody new that I meet, because obviously my academic prowess determines my value in life. I am a third-year undergraduate student at the University of Texas at Austin studying psychology with a minor in Asian American Studies and a certificate in Spanish for the medical professions. I came in undeclared. I started out as an interior design potential transfer, and then I looked into journalism, and then I finally settled on psychology, and then I was like, why didn't I think of this before? Because I've always loved psychology, so like, where was the disconnect? I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now, so we'll see what happens over like the next freaking 10 years of school that I have to take. And then maybe my family will think I'm a doctor. Question number 9, who or what introduced you to Booktube? So actually, I'm gonna combine questions 9 and 10 because question 10 is what was your biggest motivation to start making videos? So here's my long story that I'm going to try to condense. Basically, in March, I went to the Clare book signing for Chain of Gold, and there I met Andrea at Andrea Reads. We were both in the front row. We had both driven like at least 2 hours to get there, and we had gotten there super early, and we were both in the almost last group to meet Cassie. So she was doing the signing on the stage right in front of us, and we basically sat there for an hour and a half watching her sign books because we were in the second to last signing group. So during that hour and a half, we kind of started talking. She told me she had a Booktube channel, and I was like, cool, I don't watch Booktube, but like I'll subscribe to you because that's cool. And so I started watching her videos, and then literally like a week later, COVID happened, and well, it was already happening, but like COVID shut down our school, and so I got sent home, and I moved home, and I realized, hey, I have a bookshelf I've been neglecting, and also I haven't read a book in God knows how long, so like let me start reading again consistently. And then I decided, hey, I don't really have that many Bookish friends, and like I'm basically just spamming Andrea every 5 minutes every time I read a book. So let me maybe make a Booktube channel and just shout at the void about the books I'm reading. And that quickly turned into me finding a lot of really cool friends. You guys know who you are, and also just the community in general. Like it's been really cool and very valuable experience for me to have a Booktube channel. And I never thought that this was something I would do. Back in like 2015, I think I tried to start a YouTube channel because I thought that was like a cool thing to do, and I basically had like half of my family subscribed to me. It was like 40 people, and it was all family members, and that is probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. So here I am. I have 300 subscribers, probably 2 or 3 of which are actually family members. Question number 11 is what has been your favorite book of the year? I'm gonna say Circe again because like it's just been such an amazing book. It's also the first book I read this year, as I've said in literally every video. I really loved that book, but I'm also gonna mention a couple other amazing books that I've read this year. Most recently, I read Darius the Great is Not Okay, which was absolutely wonderful, made me cry several times. I also read A Place for Us, which was amazing. I highly recommend. I don't hear enough about this book. And also I reread all of the Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus series, so that was amazing. I loved it. Question number 12 is your favorite series. So kind of going off of that, I reread the original Percy Jackson series, and honestly I forgot how much I loved it. Like that was so good, such an amazing experience reliving that again because I'd forgotten nearly everything about it, and it was just like really great. So I think this year has definitely given me a resurgence of love in like old series that I used to read. So like The Hunger Games, even better the second time. Love it so much. It's so deep. Like there's so much commentary on that book. Like I just love it so much. And of course, The Infernal Devices, The Dark Artifices, like 2 of my favorite series. They break my heart every time. Every time I read them, I sob. Question number 13 is worst book of the year. I'm just gonna link my most disappointing reads video for this one because there were a lot of books that were disappointing for different reasons this year. But I think like the absolute worst one that had no redeeming qualities was called Girls Like Me. It was a little middle grade prose written book that I read for the Owls Readathon, and it was just a waste of my time. Like I don't know why I read that book. It lacked depth. It tried to cover too many things in like a very limited format, and it was just like very stereotypical, like every character was a caricature. Like it was just bad. Question number 14, what do you find to be the hardest part of making videos? So honestly, it depends, because physically the hardest part is the production of the videos. Like sometimes filming is difficult when I don't want to like set up my camera and then see myself on camera, and also I film when no one else is home except for my grandparents, so there's like the issue of distractions and like finding a time when nobody else is home. Also the editing, sometimes I just don't, like I want to avoid the tedium of editing. Also I don't want to see myself on the screen for the next hour and a half, like it's just a bunch of that. But like not physically, I think the hardest part is not focusing on the numbers, because with Booktube, like you say you're not in it for the numbers and like you're not, but it can be really disheartening when you like don't have that many subscribers and you like work really hard on a video and maybe it doesn't do as well, or maybe you post a video and then you lose like 10 subscribers and it's like, okay YouTube, what did I do wrong? Like what happened? Or just like somebody else blows up really fast when you like work on it for a little while. And I mean, I haven't even been on here that long, like only a few months, and like I'm really glad with how much my channel has grown over the past few months. But you also do see people who blow up in like a week or two and they have like thousands and thousands of subscribers. I'm happy for them. Like if that happened to me, oh my gosh, I'd be so happy. But like basically trying not to focus on the numbers and focusing instead on the amazing community and like the people I've met here. It's honestly been such a rewarding experience again. So like just focusing on that helps, I think. Question 15, what is your favorite BIPOC YA book? BIPOC, I don't know if I'm saying this right, I'm sorry, I've never heard anybody say this. It's BIPOC, and it's Black Indigenous People of Color, so like books with Black Indigenous people of color in it. And for the longest time, I honestly did not read these books because they just weren't accessible. My library didn't have any BIPOC books. I never saw them. I didn't know they existed. I read maybe one book that had like a character like me in it, and that's a whole different thing. I'm gonna talk about that later because like that representation was not good. But I'm finally starting to read more diverse books and like diversifying my shelves, and it's honestly been so amazing to see like characters like me represented in books, and even characters who are not like me who have not been represented a lot. So it's honestly been super cool. So I'm just gonna name some amazing like diverse books that I've read this year specifically. I really loved Star Daughter, which was just released about a like Desi half-star who has to go save her dad by going to the heavens, and like it's like super dreamy and atmospheric and it's super cool. Next there's A Song of Grace and Ruin, which is a debut YA fantasy that I can't wait to reread whenever the second book comes out because oh my gosh, it was so good. Like it was wow. And also Clap When You Land, which I've heard everybody recommend was pretty good. Also more recently, Darius the Great Is Not Okay, which was amazing. Definitely made my list of top books. Like I loved it so much, and while it was like somewhat relevant to my life, like I had a lot of experiences that I could really relate to, and at the same time it was different enough so that I could like learn new things, and that was really cool as well. Question number 16 is what is the last book you read, which was How It All Blew Up. I actually had the chance to have a virtual meet and greet with the author with some gelato because the book is set in Rome, so there was like a Penguin Teen event that I got invited to, and it was so exciting. I thought it was going to be like one of those webinar events where you just kind of like listen to the author talk to somebody, like a moderated Q&A, and then I got there and it was like me and 5 other bookstagrammers, and oh my gosh, it was super cool to like get to talk to the author and get to know the author a little bit and like get insight onto the book because like I hadn't finished it at the time of the event, and after I finished it I actually really enjoyed it. It's about a gay Iranian Muslim boy who runs away to Rome because he fears being outed by a classmate of his right before graduation, and in Rome he kind of, you know, finds himself and finds other people like him, and just kind of, it's a really good book actually. I really enjoyed it, and if you're into that sort of thing, like highly recommend reading it. It was a great experience. It was pretty funny. Question 17 is how far in advance do you pre-film videos? For this, honestly, it depends. I haven't filmed a video in about 3 weeks. I tend to pre-film videos by like a week or two just because I try to post every week. That hasn't happened recently because school started and like it was a lot more work than I had expected, but I'm getting into the swing of things, so like hopefully I can start posting more regularly again. Question 18 is who is your favorite Shadowhunter character? I'm gonna use a loophole to give 2 characters. So my favorite character from the Shadowhunter universe is Magnus Bane, who is not a Shadowhunter. He is an immortal by Asian warlock with an amazing sense of humor and also a lot of pain and angst, and he's just such a great character. I love Magnus so much. Like he definitely makes all of the Shadowhunter books more enjoyable, and if there was a Shadowhunter book like series that didn't have Magnus in it, I don't think I would read it, to be completely honest, because he's like the one that ties everything together, and like every time you see him and he sees another character, like he's thinking about the other timelines that he's encountered, which the reader has also encountered. Second, I think my most recent obsession was Julian Blackthorne from The Dark Artifices. Like, he's just so sweet and talented and like the best boy. Like, he cares for his siblings so much, and every time Emma hurts him because Emma is dumb, like, it hurts. Like, I love Julian so much as a character. Like, he's just so cool and like heartfelt and really deep. Like, Julian Blackthorne is the best. Also from the Infernal Devices, obviously I love Will and Jem. I didn't forget about them, don't worry. Question number 19 is my favorite music to listen to. I love indie, like indie pop specifically, like artists like Hosier, Troye Sivan, The Paper Kites. I'm sorry if I'm talking about all the wrong genres. Like, I don't listen to music obsessively like that much. I mainly just listen to one artist for like a month on repeat and then switch to somebody else. So Troye Sivan, Hosier, Paper Kites, Khalid, Billie Eilish. My music tastes like really depend on the time of year, like what I'm going through, and just generally those are like the main ones I listen to though. Question 20, what is the prettiest book you own? Oh my gosh, I can't decide, so I'm just gonna hold up like 2 of the most easy ones to grab. I have Circe, absolutely gorgeous, Song of Rights and Ruin. I show this book to everybody. Like I don't even talk about the book. I'm just like, look at this cover, it's shiny, it's pretty, look at the girl on the cover. Like it's just so beautiful, I love it. Question 21 is what is your favorite TV show? Hands down, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Though after watching it for about the 5th time, I've realized there are some things that I would change about it. Like obviously it is the closest thing to perfection as a TV show, like no white people in sight, but honestly, like Zutara is the superior ship, and if you have anything to say about that, you can fight me. Question 22, what's your most controversial bookish opinion? I think this like kind of delves into just general controversial opinion. I think cancel culture has gotten very toxic, specifically cancel culture in the bookish community. I think that a lot of calling out that happens on book Twitter is sometimes necessary, but the direction it goes is absolutely unnecessary. Like I think that when you call somebody out for something they've done wrong, like you should call them out obviously if they're doing something wrong, but you should also give them room to grow. You shouldn't just shut them down and then beat them down while they're on the ground. Like if somebody has made a mistake, then like they should be given room to grow. Now I understand in some cases, like people we must not name, like they have been showing their true selves for a long time, and when people call them out, like they don't respond in the way that like technically you should respond if you're growing from that experience. But there are some people I think who have been called out that are trying to grow and like they're just not getting the chance. Like change is a very slow process, and I think we should be mindful of that. Now if somebody needs to be called out, call them out by all means. Like I'm not one for saying don't call somebody out if they're messing up, but also give them the room to grow. So anyways, that was my last question. Again, thank you guys so much if you did ask me a question. I really appreciate it. And also thank you to all of my 300 subscribers. I really appreciate all of you guys. I never thought that I would get to this point, so like being here is such an amazing feeling. Like thank you guys, every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know down below what you thought of this video. Fight me on my answers, I don't care, just interact with me. And as always, don't forget to subscribe because I will be posting new content very soon. Thank you guys for watching, bye bye.